Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be giving you a review of a show on the Investigation Discovery Network called Still a Mystery. Now, Still a Mystery is a show, again, on the Investigation Discovery Network that premiered in 2018 and is currently airing on that network. The show, as the title suggests, focuses on cases that may have been closed and still have questions that need answering, and many may involve a ruling of a death that is likely incorrect, that looks, let's say, ostensibly incorrect or erroneous. As an example, it could be, something, a death that was ruled as a suicide or an accidental death that really does appear to be actually a homicide or a murder. And what is good about the show is that it can give more exposure to cases that may not have been solved correctly initially or looked into deeply or extensively. In some cases, it could be the result of an apathetic or lackadaisical law enforcement agency. They may have just wanted to put cases under the proverbial rug for whatever reason. And the show can put, shine that light on people, that need to be investigated thoroughly who weren't previously. And the show Still a Mystery may give more inspiration to reopen cases that weren't looked at the way they should have been. And one prime example, I would say, there was a North Carolina episode, and one of the segments featured the death of Brandon Embry. It was ruled a death due to pneumonia, but then the medical examiner changed it, I believe, to undetermined. And this is a case where, for me, I believe it was ostensibly homicide. The body had many contusions and injuries to it, and there was some statement that this was self-inflicted. When the reality and actuality would be, I would say, it would really be preposterous to think so. And there were even injuries, on his body in places that were impossible for him to reach. And the mother, Sarah Lee, has been relentlessly investigating her son's death, basically on her own. And this should not even be her job, and that should be the job of local law enforcement. And the show, does again, shine the light on matters, like an example like this, where something is, at least appears to be ostensibly murder or homicide, and it needs to be looked into, thoroughly. And the thing about this is, not only, does this give, this show Still a Mystery give more exposure and notoriety, to cases that need to be looked at thoroughly, it could also inspire people, again, to have cases reopened, that are currently closed. And the show, it certainly gives hope to those that have unresolved cases, especially if it involves a murder or a disappearance of a loved one. And people, can contact Investigation Discovery and try to get a segment associated with the death of a loved one aired on the show. And this is something too, another thing that I would say is advantageous and beneficial about the show Still a Mystery is that, people, people that have information pertaining to a case featured on the show, may come forward with information that, maybe, that is, connected with it, that might help solve it. For example, a woman coming forward, stating her boyfriend, at the time, of a murder, such and such location, had shoes, like the ones described in the episode, which appear to have traces of blood on them. I'm just putting this out arbitrarily as an example. But at the time, the person may not have reported anything because she did not want to jump to conclusions. Now, a statement as simple as this could bring a case unsolved closer to closure. And the thing about this too is, I would give this. I mean, for me, I want to give this. Hold on a moment. I want to give this 5 stars out of a possible 5. Um, it's very again, it's advantageous. You know, really, for looking if you're looking for closure, to unsolved crimes, it can give people, it could be very positive, for that, and it can give, people some optimism and hope that may not have had that previously. It may also give, people, incentive and motivation to simply do the right thing, what's morally and ethically right. And the thing is, whether it's actually, the person, may see this that actually committed the crime in some cases, may actually feel compelled to turn his or herself in. I know that may be rare, but it still is a possibility. And the thing is, it could also give, people, maybe motivation, to release information, that's pertinent to the case. And it could shed light on people that may have been, may not have been perceived as suspects previously, but should be. And sadly, the thing is too, is that many, people, are oblivious to those that need to be, investigated thoroughly. The show gives, really a better chance of justice prevailing and, emerging victorious. I mean, you have, people. You got to keep in mind, people, that suspects, come in all shapes and sizes and forms. You could have somebody that looks very, scrupulous and refined, a person that just looks like your everyday Joe, that looks like would never, based on superficial appearances, would never look like they would commit a murder or any kind of heinous crime. And sometimes those are the people that may appear close to infallible are the ones that appear very ethical and responsible and scrupulous. Those are the ones sometimes that need to be looked at, because in some cases all that is a facade for who the person, for he or she really is. And I think when you have a show like this, it can even give light, shed light on those people that might appear like somebody that would not, well, this person, no way this person would ever commit a crime, but could shine a light on somebody like that. And again, it does provide an outlet, for those that have, cases that were closed, maybe prematurely or what have you, but ones that should have been looked into. And in some cases, sadly, whether it's due again to apathetic or lazy law enforcement, in some cases it might even be corruption in law enforcement. It could be some cases you might have law enforcement suppressing pertinent information to a case that may have helped solve it. And this could shed the light on even those issues and be able again to resolve, to at least come closer to solving a case that should have been solved long ago. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.